Tuaregs, the blue men of the Sahara. They have roamed the Great Desert for centuries, herding, trading and defending themselves against foreign ways. For Westerners, spoiled by prosperity and leisure, the Sahara is hell on earth. For the Tuaregs, it's home. It is very much a provider, a nourishing mother. And a soil ripe with hope for the birth of Azawad, a country where Tuaregs could finally be masters of their own fate. There could be no talk of Azawad without first getting acquainted with the Tuaregs. But who are they, the lords of the desert?
We are talking about an ancient people, one of the oldest in Africa and the whole world. The word Tuareg comes from a term used to describe a water canal or watering can, one that would be used to transport water from a wadi or a river to orchards.
Before Azawad became a word on the lips of the modern world, the Tuaregs had already been roaming the Sahara for centuries, witnessing various empires vying for the natural riches hidden beneath the dunes.
Romans, Vandals, Phoenicians, the Islamic conquest, French colonialism, the Turks, you name it. All of these invaders claimed that the Tuaregs hailed from a distant land. Today this myth has been refuted by both archaeology and genetic analysis. It's been proved that the Amazigh people in North Africa and the Tuareg in the Sahara, the Central Sahara and the Sahel are the original inhabitants of these regions.
In the 19th century, the western part of the Sahara Desert found itself under French colonial rule. At the Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885, European powers, ruler in hand and acting as bearers of civilization, partitioned the African continent. European colonial powers were required to demonstrate effective occupation via military presence, administration and economic activity to validate their territorial claims. Thus, French authorities subsumed the future territories of Azawad into a local polity called French Sudan.
We never accepted the French domination. Never. We have been the last people in Sahara who refused to be directly colonized by France. We are fighting against France colonization until 1960.
The Tuaregs seized their moment and staged a revolt in Mali between 1962 and 1964. Poorly equipped and disorganized, the rebellion was stamped out. This, however, is when the idea of a Tuareg state emerged.
Azawad is a concept linked to the reconstitution of a new political identity in the Sahara. All names of states in North Africa are actually new. For example, Algeria is a new concept. There was no country called Algeria before 1960. Mali, relatively speaking, referred to the Mali Empire of old. This nomenclature was not continuous and did not exist in the past centuries, even during the French colonization.
As a concept, driving your four-wheel drive car for tens of thousands of kilometers from Paris to Dakar also did not exist in the past. But when the first race took place in December 1978, the Tuaregs, somewhat puzzled, watched cars and motorbikes cut through their desert, occasionally helping stray racers to get back on track. The race and prospective rebellions in the 1990s and 2000s catapulted the Tuaregs into the global spotlight, but the embers of Tuareg independence continued to burn under the sands. In 2007, the wind of revolution would expose them again, and hostilities would spark up in Niger and Mali, moving the Paris-Dakar race elsewhere. As Tuaregs fought against what they saw as marginalization under the governments in Niamey and Bamako, as they struggled for the inclusion of their people in military and government affairs, and for a fairer allocation of state resources and infrastructure in Tuareg regions. Tinariwen fought for the hearts and minds of the world, with bluesy sounds and lyrics.
We try to engage the audience with our songs. Frankly speaking, our songs urge people to act. Tinariwen lyrics all have a message. Before, it used to be a message for people living in the desert. Now, we hope to bring this message from the people of the desert to the rest of the world.
The youth in Libya were spreading a culture of change, a culture of revolution and a culture of homecoming. This debate gave birth to the Tinariwen group, which roamed the world showcasing the Tuareg culture and language. Perhaps the most famous band in Africa, the Tinariwen, is the bearer of the concerns, dreams and demands of the revolutionary Tuareg people in general. It is a group of young people who have been involved in the military, business and various professions in Libya.
The Libya of Colonel Gaddafi, of course. It was his ideology of Pan-Africanism that attracted the Tuaregs. It was under his auspices that the desert lords found refuge and support, fleeing the repressions of the governments in Mali and Niger in the wake of the failed 1960s rebellions. Hosts of Tuaregs were trained in Libyan military camps as part of Gaddafi's broader strategy to create a Saharan Islamic Legion, a force meant to spread his influence in the region.
In 1985, Libya had a problem against Chad also. Gaddafi used our people to fight against Chadian people, Chadian's army. I think it's just an opportunity for Gaddafi, but the one reason why those guys accepted to be a soldier in Libya was just to preparing military and come back to their land.
Then the day of homecoming finally came. It was heralded by protests in Benghazi on February the 15th, 2011, which set the Libyan civil war in motion. A NATO intervention followed in March. By October the 20th, the final obstacle was removed: Colonel Gaddafi himself. With the killing of their former benefactor, the Tuaregs woke up to an unusual windfall: weapons and freedom to roam as they pleased. The heading was clear: Azawad. Yet another rebellion broke out in early 2012 in Mali. The National Movement for the Liberation of Azawad captured several major cities, including Kidal, Gao and Timbuktu. In April 2012, the MNLA declared the independence of Azawad, though it lacked broad international recognition. However, Islamic groups like Ansar al-Din and Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb hijacked the rebellion, imposing strict Sharia law in northern Mali.
Al-Qaeda was the former member of Algerian GSPC, it's an Islamic group in Algeria named GSPC, decided to become the first component of Al-Qaeda in Maghreb. And the Malian authority from 2003 and 2012 accepted the Al-Qaeda installation.
By early 2013, a French-led military intervention drove out the Islamists, but the Tuareg question remained unresolved. While this rebellion fizzled out into a peace deal known as the Algiers Accord, signed in 2015 between the Malian government and some Tuareg factions, tensions remain, and the struggle for independence continues.
This peace agreement didn't propose really self-determination, but normally should give us some role as a community on our land and prepare a new system of defense like a reconstituted National Army of Mali. And since August 2023, we have another cycle of violence between Azawad people and Malian central government.
Formed in November 2020 from scattered Tuareg factions, the Azawad Liberation Front claims it controls all the land stretching from the north of the country to the Niger River. What it does not control are crucial cities of Timbuktu and Gao, but also its erstwhile stronghold of Kidal. However, the ALF influence is far from regional, as the faction has been playing its part in global conflicts. Examples: the Battle of Tinzawaten, which saw the Tuaregs ambush the Malian armed forces backed by the Wagner Group in late July 2024.
During this battle, Ukraine shared with us some of the information about their capacity. Who is this guy? He has been a member of Special Force of Russia. He worked in Malaysia. Yes, we have this kind of information from Ukrainian intelligence agency. We also share with them who came in Mali, what time he came, and we share with them some information about the aircraft of of Russia came in Bamako sometime, how many guys in this aircraft, who are those guys, where did they train it before?
But for all intents and purposes, why would anyone, be it the junta in Bamako, Russia via its African Corps, formerly the Wagner Group, or even the Tuaregs themselves, be interested in fighting for a seemingly endless sea of sand? The answer's simple: resources.
Whether China, the US, France, and so on, all of them look at the Sahara and see its mines, precious metals, and natural resources, be it uranium, gold in Azawad, gas, or oil.
So, while the struggle continues, the question remains: what kind of state would Azawad be?
It will be beyond our people to decide in a referendum or other kind of election. We are not come from another planet. We have to respect the system in the world. We have to respect ECOWAS. We have to respect Arabic League. I think we have majority Islamic people. It's a reality in our country. Then we have to take part of the Islamic management of governance of all of the things, but not directly Sharia, not directly the radical system.
After decades of fighting, is the establishment of Azawad really a viable prospect?
Today, the Tuaregs have nothing left to lose. Either that means going ahead with statehood or continuing the conflict. There are geostrategic changes happening over the shifting sands that will make sure the struggle continues.